Nakaka Grabe to si na
Nagpiperos na para. Mas ang dami daw bahay sa Fox Park. May mga business naman siya, mining business. Yung pinapatayo niya yung
right. So welcome to our day three session, and we will discuss the sustainable side. All right. So our objectives are the following: construction pollution prevention, site selection, development density and community connectivity, brownfield redevelopment, alternate transport, site development, stormwater management, heat island effect, and light pollution. No? So take note that again, for each and every credit category in LEED, there is a prerequisite. And as what we discussed earlier, prerequisite means mandatory. Your applications might be revoked without compliance with the necessary prerequisite requirements. No? So here, anyhow, just for additional information, this plan no, should conform with the requirements of 2012 U.S. Environmental Protection Agency Construction General Permit CGP uh, standards. Okay? EPA or either CGB, whichever is more stringent. Okay? And construction pollution prevention is also required, irrespective of the project size. All right. So, what are the significance? No. So, what are those what we are expecting as part of your construction pollution prevention plan? All right. So, three things are there: erosion, sedimentation, and airborne dust generation. So, this should be at least the contents that we are expecting Again, we have to comply with CGP or EPA requirements. So erosion, what is erosion? No? It is a loss of topsoil. Remember this, topsoil is different from underneath soil or subsoils because topsoils has nutrients used for vegetation. Unlike whatever we have on the lower layers, they do not have. No? Anyhow, so reasons of erosions, there are many reasons. Actually, erosions happen naturally, right? However, if we are doing a construction, we should limit the potential. The reason is potential destruction of the construction activity. So reasons of erosion, storm, water runoff, yeah, yan yung baha, no? Wind, foot, traffic, construction vehicle traffic, steep zone, yeah, okay. Remember again, topsoil support vegetation. So that's why we need to protect the topsoil. No? Erosion, loss of topsoil, okay. Um, the problem is if the topsoil loss, normally we will rely more on more uh, artificial fertilizer, no? Increased fertilizer. But there is a huge problem using this, and I will tell you later. Requirement for the landscape, hence increase environmental damage. No? So what is sedimentation? Simply sedimentation is actually cause water pollution. And how we define the sedimentation? Addition of solid particles in water body, sediments from construction site are rich in contaminates and pollutes the water bodies. That probably might increase the chance of, what is the term? What is the term we are using in CFM? There's a term there, no? Maybe it's here. I will tell you later. Airborne dust generation. Okay. Erosion due to wind pollutes the air with particulate matter and suspended particles, especially during the typhoon. No? It might also cause sedimentations. Again, what we're trying to minimize is the sedimentation. You see, this particle goes to the water bodies, okay, that has a lot of nutrients. And this nutrients is actually cause eutrophication process to hasten or to speed up the process of eutrophication. Okay, and later on I will explain what is that. So the strategy and implementation, erosion and sedimentation control plan, and probably part of a pollution prevention, no? Construction pollution prevention plan. No? So what are those strategy? Again, it depends on your site. No? One of that is stockpiling. This is very easy and this is applicable everywhere. No? So what happened? The topsoil is removed from the site and piled in safe place, replaced by free drain gravel, and finally restored after the construction. Huh? You cannot avoid the potential disturbance to soil, but put it somewhere and after some period of time, put it back. And this erosion and sedimentation control plan are the two types, namely stabilization and structural strategy. So what are those strategies? Stabilization and structural. No? Let's discuss first the stabilization. No? So what are those? No? Temporary seeding. No? I don't know if you consider that. Plant fast-growing grass to temporarily stabilize the soil. This is one thing. And then definitely even the grass don't absorbs water. So it will also stabilize the soil and permanent seeding. Okay? If we feel that that particular soil will be maybe after, no? After you do this stockpiling, no, you put it back to what's its original location. Probably you might consider permanent seeding, like plant clusters and shrubs to permanently stabilize the soil. Again, there are only two types, temporary or permanent. So for me, temporary, if we are just trying to prevent the erosion and minimize the impact of stormwater runoff. Another stabilization strategy, very common, and actually we are very useful, especially to your plants, no, to minimize the uh, water use or it's actually considered how we can say water conservation strategy. Why? Because actually this prevents the uh, to hasten or speed up the evaporation process. No? No? So mulching is materials from sawdust, straw, hay, grass, wood, chips, or gravel over the topsoil to stabilize. Again, the good thing with gravel, the problem with gravel, it's absorb heat. This is only the problem. No? Otherwise, I think sawdust is the best solution. You just put it on the top of the soil when you put water. So it will actually maintain the moisture in the soil. So, sawdust. So these are, if you see, most of your you don't even need to think no, what materials you're going to use because normally in construction there is cutting, right? So these are the materials, especially if there is a wood, you can immediately use. Uh, Otherwise, structural strategy considered silt fencing. So what is this? No construction post with fabric filter media. You can consider, I guess, here also geotextile, but this is geotextile. The problem is it's only, how can I say? If we have such size, why I don't mind because this can also filter, no, the contaminants. No? Simply a fabric filter media to remove sediments from stormwater runoff. So if there is a construction inside and there is a rain, the sediments will stay, no, inside because there is a barrier and we call it silt fencing. No? Another strategy, sediment traps. So meaning it will goes to lowest point, not due to gravity. No? So this is a cavity where sediments from storm water are allowed to settle down. No? So if you see you have a lot of strategy here, no. So if you are if it's going outside, I think the first scenario uh, for me it is practical if I think what's the sign? Yeah. It is like protruding, no? Or otherwise like engraved, no? With the whole. I think it's better if we will consider the second one below. Because this might also be removed over time, especially if there is a high wind, no? So I like more the second design. The first one, you have to maintain all the time also to keep it in that, na, in that I don't know, but it is possible. Both are possible. But again, the idea here, if this is your construction, we will prevent it to, it will act again as a filter. Otherwise, you have maybe a lower ground in your project site. You might need to consider this as a sediment trap outlet or sediment basin. Same as sediment trap, but larger size. If you are expecting more stormwater runoff, again, flood control strategy.
Pasok pa rin.
No, the good thing here, I feel that the first one is only filter, no? The second one can use as a flood control. That's the also difference, right? Uh, Another strategy is diking. Mount of stability, but not necessarily the permanent, since your construction is a temporary activity. Anyway, earth dikes are mound of stabilized soil to divert the runoff through the desired direction through sediment traps and basin. So imagine you should have this kind of plan, no? Huh? Environmental sedimentation plan, no? Right? So anyhow, for further details, you can consider EPA 2003 as what we mentioned, or CGP Construction General Permit, no? Ha? National Pollutant Discharge Elimination Scheme and applicable local standards. I think ASCAL has a requirement also nowadays. So rather than normally here, the topsoil is maybe not vegetative as what they had, but normally they don't want also it to throw. So normally what ASCAL does, they collected it and they consider this as a topsoil for the additional soil for the parks like that. No? Okay. How I know? I made some. I make one chartered engineer lady. This is the project. Uh, uh, they remove it. It is Sabka. They call it Sabka. I don't know. I'm not civil, but I actually write the paper. No? Help write the paper. Anyway, site selection. All right. So again, it is a prerequisite for us that we are not allowed to develop in an appropriate site. So what is appropriate site? In the appropriate site, farmland. This is a big no, right? Remember, we are facing scarcity or how can I say scarcity? Famine. Habang tumatagal, lumalalim yung English ko eh. ah, Scarcity, limited resources, right? That's the term for that. No. Uh, so if you will use farmland as part of development, modernization, what will happen to us in the future, in our future generation then? Because the population has a positive feedback loop. As this is, right? So basically, the way we produce things for future generation is also follows the principle of positive feedback loop, right? But maybe you will argue Japan is different thing. They are shrinking, like negative feedback, right? Well, it is still mandatory if you will consider sustainability. Because generally, um, populations are growing across the globe. It's not decreasing. No? Preserved areas for wildlife. This is also big no. Big no. Recreational purpose and maintains ecological balance. Recreational purpose like parks, no? So what are the strategies? Again, do not develop a farmland land close to water bodies. Remember this, at least 100 feet away or 30 meters. Flood prone. I think this is high tide. I feel. If you will ask me, because the water level, no, the water table is actually changed based on the tide, no. Anyway, I'm at Charlene Gonzalez. Flood-prone area located on a site that is entirely outside any floodplain, subject to 1% or greater chance of flooding in a given year. 1% chance only of flood. There's a flood, but only 1% chance. Possible. If you have a flood control. But that goes.
Hindi na lang sa bagang project control if it's not following the master.
I realized that, I took a wrong course, no? I supposed to work as a, I supposed to finish civil engineering, not mechanics.
Hindi ko lang siya na.
Ha?
Ito pa kayo na. Yung major lang no. Ito pa may isa. Major lang.
Measuring flood control project.
Palitan
Tapos yung piling mo, 3 meters lang.
si Dison at saka si Magalong.
Diyos ko naman, Mario Joseph, itong mga
Talaga sabi nila, paano tayo walang engineer.
lahat ng topic related.
500 sir.
Ay, naku. Hindi, kahit PNP, CCQ, laging itong discussion, Your Honor, eh. There is always a manifestation, eh. Ha? Anyway, 100-year flood level of flood level expected to be equal or exceeded every 100 years on average. So basically, like in our area, because we are living in Cavite, GMA, I think flood, to be honest with you, flood is next to impossible.
Na talagang kahit 100 years, matindi pa lang medyo mataas na. Mataas pa ganun yun? Punta mo na after ilan.
You know, our ilog, to go down, it's like matarik.
Wala, kami mataas. Ganun yun.
And FEMA, which is Federal Emergency Management Authority or Agency, I forget the term, wait, Federal Emergency Management Agency or Authority, wait, let me ask my assistant. I forget sometimes, eh. FEMA. So you will see them during crisis management, no? These people, no? Let's say after typhoon or after storm, you will see FEMA, no? FEMA also, even there is a huge wildfire, nandiyan dyan yung mga yan. Hi there.
Hey Marvin, welcome back.
Okay, I want you to tell me what is the meaning of FEMA and a federal agency in United States.
FEMA stands for the Federal Emergency Management Agency. It's a federal agency of the United States responsible for coordinating the response to disasters that overwhelm the resources of local and state authorities. So when there's a big disaster like hurricanes or wildfires, FEMA steps in to help manage the emergency response.
Okay. Now, okay. So meaning they can give you data also, no? This is the one who can tell you in United States the data on 100-year flood in US. Okay. Look, if you see there are, you might think of it's like a burden to have a further documentations for the applications of your green building. But if it is according to all the plan, it is already there in your plan. It is already been discussed in the kickoff meeting. It is already discussed during the charrette workshop, right? Which is a one-day workshop. And if we are considering integrated project delivery approach, IPD, I think this is not a problem, no? Right? Especially nowadays, AI is everywhere. So land close to wetland, at least 50 feet away. If it is a water body, 100 feet. Just remember this, water body, 100 feet. Otherwise, wetland, 50 feet. So around 15 meters, no? Whose soil is saturated with moisture either permanently or seasonally. Land of identified for endangered species, population of organisms which is at risk of becoming extinct. And probably it is actually very sad to hear this news that for the past, I think, a decade or 20 years, around 10,000 species become extinct now. 10,000 because of the climate change. Anyway, still we can still stay in the picture. A public parkland prior to redevelopment. Well, that's why it will increase the chance of extinct, no? Of living things, animals, if we will continue developing, especially in endangered sites, no? See, they call it endangered species sites, no? Again, for further information, and especially if you're a designer, you have to see the guideline from FEMA, no? FEMA, all right? So here we have the development density and community connectivity. So what is the meaning of development ratio? So ratio between developed floor area within a specific area, right? And we have to lower this, you know? The development compared to the specific area should be less. And community connectivity, connected to basic services and have a residential neighborhood. So one of that, especially in urban planning and design, park, no, or the community where they can gather is a must. So bus stops of site, farmland, greenfield site, and graded site. So if you are looking for credit points, if it is greenfield or previously undeveloped site, allowed, but no points. Why they will give you points for what? No benefit, no. And graded site. What is graded site? Hmm? We are in discussions of late. Okay, can you just explain what is the meaning of graded site? Because this is not eligible for sustainability credit. What's the meaning of that?
A gray field site refers to previously developed land that is not in use, but unlike brownfield sites, it doesn't have significant.
No, I know that, but
contamination.
graded site, graded. Kaya habang nag-aantay. Yun yung nangyari kay ano eh. Nag-glitch eh. Ganyan pa yung technology eh. Diba? Nag-glitch siya. So,
Okay,
again, what is the meaning of graded site which is not eligible for sustainability credit? Graded site. And previously developed site, this is another type of site, but this time eligible. Remember what we call this area? Last time we discussed, no? Last infill site. What is that? No? An empty, let's say this is a series of plots or area, and you have to fill a previously developed one. Last week, no, we discussed. And brownfield, so meaning this is probably, if we remember, brownfield means probably contaminated site. It can be an assumption to be contaminated. Remember this, if it is like a factory area or industrial area, irrespective whether the site is contaminated or not, if there is an assumption that probably the soil is contaminated, then it's still considered brownfield. So whether you like it or not, whether there is a contamination or not, you might need to consider soil test to consider the soil test and determine the depth of the contamination. And you need to consider remediation. You have to remediate that, no? Before you start the construction, no? I'm not sure. No, soil analysis for what? For the strength? No, this one is different, not for the strength. To determine the let's say level of pollution or toxicity. This is different, no? Not always, right? Again, applicable only if the site is assumed to be brownfield. Lead encourage high dense development. Now, both project and surroundings shall have a minimum density of 60,000 square feet per acre. No? So, meaning, There is some formula there, but this think about it, no? We want more people live closer. Huh? We don't want to expand unnecessarily or the urban sprawl if we can consider vertical constructions like buildings. So this one will increase the density. No? Density, how many people you can consider living in a per square area, square feet or square meter. Again, not necessarily congested. That's why we have introduced this vertical construction. No? Lead encourage development with a good community connectivity also. So if this is your project site, through maybe Google Maps, you have to draw, let's say, 1/2 mile radius to show the basic services that are available. Because again, we don't want any settlement that there is no basic services and should have pedestrian access. So there, if that's the case, you will also get points for that. No? Again, there is a points there in location transportation. I think maximum 10 points you will get. No? So significant reduce the load on greenfield site, avoid urban sprawl, encourage smart growth, and infill. Yeah, this is the term. Infill development. Utilize existing infra, right? So probably if there is an existing infrastructure rather than demolition, which cause a lot of construction pollution or waste, renovate. By the way, renovation also give you huge points. Because, look, I'll tell you, actually, do you know that constructions for renovation, especially for the older building, is way more difficult compared to start from scratch. But what we're trying to avoid is the waste or construction pollution. That is what we're trying to minimize, right? That's why it will give you points. No? Reduce stormwater runoff. Reduce automobile usage. Again, if the basic services are almost nearby, well, half mile radius. Increase physical. So again, that is not prerequisite, but if you can prove, you get points immediately. Imagine by having only good site with high dense development, already you will get every topic here. Infill site, check, you know, here, community connectivity, then basic services, check, points, Here, the density of 60,000 square feet per acre, check, no? So every time there is a points, no? Previously developed site, points also there, no? Brownfield, you remediate, you might expend extra, but there is a points. All right? And again, what we are trying to introduce, why the basic services should be nearby, so we will avoid using our car. And if you see availability of also the pedestrian access, especially bicycle lane, if in that area there's a bicycle lane, they will also might get the points. And then, because again, LEED is about not just environmental protection or preservation, but we also think of well-being, welfare of the community. So there is a possible. So apart from reduced automobile usage, increased physical activity and well-being, no? So again, what is urban sprawl? The spreading out of a city and its suburbs over more and more rural land at the periphery. So urban sprawl results in increased transportation requirements and development of agricultural and green sites. So again, we don't mind an urban sprawl, but it's supposed to be considering at the same time the smart growth. Smart growth is what we are trying to limit. We are increasing the density in the area. We will make the basic utilities, basic services, including jobs, should be available locally in that area. So meaning that the development, we will develop an area as part of urban planning that the people can live and work. The basic needs can be met in that area without leaving the area. The basic needs are available. Like in, how can I say, is it happening? Yeah, a lot of advanced countries like Singapore, for example. If you've been there, you will be happy. You will be surprised. But but still I have a feeling of this, no? Congested. There's a feeling like that, no? Yeah.
Consistent nga talaga kasi within same location. Concentrated.
High dense development. But actually, that's how, again, we, our population growth, but this is the more practical solution now in order to minimize potential impact to environment. But again, remember this, at the same time, we promote open space, okay? Open space is also give you more points. Let's say your development footprint divided by percentage of open space, the greater the ratio, your open space, you will get more points. So what are those open space not developed? For example, you have the land area, but that is undeveloped. It is considered the topsoil is still vegetative. That is considered open area. Now, take note, your roof, green roof, for example, that is also considered open space. So now, too many points you will get. If you have a green roof, you get points also in sustainable sites, location and transportation. You will get also to mitigate the stormwater runoff. You will also get points in water efficiency because you will consider plants which is not necessarily needs to water all the time. You will get a lot of points and reduce the energy, also in energy and atmosphere section. So that's why they promote a lot, no, this what is this? Green roof. Okay, the one I showed you, there's a building, no, there's a lot of but many think it is more expensive, it is more highly maintenance, but according to the study, it is way cheaper. Because don't only consider the direct cost. You consider the reductions of the minimum is reducing the size of your equipment. And if you can say, you are actually saving, not spending, because your OPEX, operational expenditure will drop. All right, no? So infill development involve development within an urban area, meaning urban area already previously developed, right? Promote the betterment of the city center and leave rural area and open space undeveloped. So infill development contribute to smart growth. We will grow, but we will not expand. No, we will try to increase the density in a particular area through vertical construction. No? Example. And smart growth is an urban plan and transportation theory. So not only urban, not only make it diverse use site, no, or available, make it the basic needs are available, including jobs, including the what transportation. Concentrate growth in compact walkable urban center to avoid sprawl. Advocates compact, transit-oriented, walkable, bicycle-friendly land use, including neighborhood schools, complete streets, and mixed-use development with a range of housing choices. And these are the manifestation, Your Honor. So, what smart growth promote? Enhance quality of life, promote economic development in that area, create livable community, promote alternative transportation, create range of housing opportunity, and preserve open space, natural resources, and environment. So basically for me, they need to bring also, for example, in the master plan of DPW, they need to bring let's say housing program. Don't think only house. What is this? You bring engineers with you. You bring architects with you. Bring urban planner. Urban planner knows this, no? Our engineers actually not dumb. Yeah, the subject matter experts. You're just wasting money. Can you check now if those uh, settlement area, housing still they're living there, you can check, no? They're not staying there. So the government money is wasted. So,
PCA natin, sir. Walang mga engineer. Ngayon, independent commission. Kaya nga nung nandun sila sa site, ang sabi ni Magalong, paano natin nag-uwido ng engineers? Anong sabi nung isa? We are not trusting engineers. Ganyan ang ngayon ang impact ng ACI. Kasi physical ng ano nila hindi lang documents pati physical ng project. So kailangan nila ng engineer. Waste of money, what is the result? Hindi, engineer concrete na magiging result. Kasi documents versus physical. Si Magalong gaganong-ganon Hindi niya alam ano to. Wala tayong engineer. Nandinig sa audio. Kailangan nila magdala.
Stupid.
Sabi mo siya, kailangan na expert talaga. Not specific.
You don't trust engineers. Then whom you trust? Politician?
Yeah. Kapag tayong independent committee,
Ay,
expert natin. Ng engineer o architect o sino. O doktor kung medical.
Magkano budget ng gobyerno dyan?
Dapat solusyonan nila. Yan makikita ko ICI, walang mga ano.
you're the gentleman from what?
From later.
I like the manifestation, and your argument is in point of order.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We'll keep in record. Only in
Huh?
record that.
It's a waste.
We will not strike out from the record. We will keep it in the record. Any objection? I hear none.
Strike, hindi na natanda. Strike out.
Save ka na. Don't worry.
Save ka na.
Sure na sure na. Sure na sure. Sure na sure. Strategy and implementation. In a site selection stage, identify previously developed site close to basic services. No? Normally, me as an investor, I'm looking for site where I will, let's say, build my hospital, where I will build my hotel. So basically, if I am really looking for more profit, do you think I will build where I will get more profit in a high dense, already modernized urban site or in the suburban sites? Of course, but you know already the reason why it is a little difficult to consider this infill site because it is way more expensive, sometimes 10-fold, 20-fold expensive compared to other areas. But again, I think more healthy for your business, considering the selection of site where it's already considered high dense and highly diversified area, no? Diverse use. So in the selection stage, no? Then plan a high dense development, okay? So brownfield is a contaminated site, requires remediation for development. And that declared by brownfield, by government agency, local voluntary cleanup programs, or here in Qatar, so how you will gain points over here. No? Get from maybe from the Baladia Ministry of Municipality. No? You cannot simply say this is brownfield, but what is the evidence? You need the proper documentation here, no, for the points claimed. Because here, to identify as a brownfield site, one thing. But you need also test result from independent third party stating that the site is actually already cleaned up, remediated. No? And you need to get that. And there is also survey, no, on that area. You should not simply show a test result and but what is the coverage and what is the. There is a geodetic survey. No? You have to supply the supplementary information that you have to give. Then you will get points, definitely. I think maximum 2 points, 3 points. So imagine that. Nice. No? Significance, preserve greenfield site, utilize existing infra, and remediate of contaminants. Wala si SB mo ngayon, ha? Wala si SB? So anyway, don't forget your attendance. I already I already generated last night. Strategy and implementation: select a site declared a brownfield. Perform remediation of detected contaminated before development of the site. No? Again, remediation, Again, remember this, according to other textbook, it's not mentioned here. Brownfield is contaminated site. No? Again, if the community has a perception or assumption that this site is contaminated is still considered brownfield. Site development, maximize open space. So meaning not necessarily we have to test the soil, make sure this is contaminated. That's the time we will say brownfield. No. As long as it is declared brownfield, or there is a collective idea that this is a brownfield, this is brownfield site. Or contaminated site. So again, site development, maximize open space, and restore habitat. So what is this? Why again it is very important? No, again, part of LEED is not just environmental protection. We promote community connectivity, right? For the welfare and well-being of its people. So now, if you will make a site, if this is your site development plan, like a campus, right? Maybe it's a campus that you will have multiple facilities over there, no? Remember that your development footprint is equal to building footprint plus associated hardscape. Logically, hardscape plus building footprint. Of course, right? If you see, what are the hardscape area? Parking space, pavements, no? Now, those undisturbed soil considered open space, not necessarily green. Here, the color is sand. So, not open space. No, open space is like something you can walk or natural. You are trying to preserve the natural, how can I say, settings, no? Undisturbed soil. All right. So open space is vegetated or pervious open. Pervious. I have to clarify this because in United States, what is pervious? Porous, right? Meaning if there is a stormwater runoff, it will be easily absorbed. It's like a sponge, porous, right? So this is considered pervious. That's the term they're using. American, I don't know why they're using the word pervious. But now I've seen a lot of pavement, especially in UK, that their pavements are pervious or porous. No, that quick. Actually, it's like a sponge. Yeah, there's a video I showed you, right? So again, vegetated or pervious open eh. So anyway, probably I'm not sure. This is some consideration for credit interpretation request. No? Now remember the last time, no, CIR. If you will have more questions when you are in design, no. Now like this, it's like a gray area for me, no. CIR, no. Anyway, space is total site area minus development footprint. And if the open space is higher ratio compared to development area, you will get more points. Now, part of your construction management environmental plan, construction environmental plan is to minimize the, let's say you will make an excavation, minimize. Don't excavate everywhere like that. Because you might need to consider this, what's the term? Nalimutan ko na. You will take the soil, the topsoil, and then you will put in other soil piling, stockpiling, or no problem. I passed the exam, so no, but at least you know what I'm trying to say, no? Okay. Now, if you see here, we have a building's footprint. This is developed, considered developed area. Hardscape, developed. Walkway, developed. Parking area. And we have the vegetated area and turf grass field. Now, this is not a gray area. Turf grass, all right. Oh my God. Turf grass is normally used for, this is like maybe a football field. All right. Okay. Remember this. Remember, according to USGBC, turf grass is not considered open space.
Well,
Because of the necessary maintenance, the cost and to maintain that, you need an intensive care, special treatment. Okay. And actually, it is, I have to check again, but again, it is not considered open space, unfortunately. You should consider this as otherwise, but then, again, there is a this dispute in the principles. Look, this is what I read. This is what I read. I'm not really sure. Anyway, the definition here is straightforward, but in design, there is always an argument, right? Okay. I don't know how you will interpret this, but according to USGBC, you should avoid or prevent using of turf grasses. Turf grasses consume a lot of water, not only that. So it will, remember, it is prerequisite for you to have an outdoor water reduction and indoor water reduction. And these turf grasses, having turf grasses will not help you reduce your outdoor water use strategy. However, of course, what's important now? There is a conflicting interest here. If you will use the turf grasses as part of the landscape or to improve the community connectivity, let's say here, football field, you need it. This is promote what? Community connectivity, right? Then you have to be allowed. You understand? But my concern only is it considered open space? Because remember also the definition, Your Honor, this is the manifestation, this is the point of order. We discussed earlier, open space promote community. So now this is turf grass, which is actually, according to USGBC, not considered open space. However, one of the definitions of open space is to promote, Your Honor, the connectivity of the community. So the point of order here, Your Honor, I should also eligible for the points for community connectivity justification or manifestation.
So, basically, no points. Diba?
Confused. To be honest with you, I have to check again.
if you just
Wait a second, Wait a second. Because to be honest with you, I am not a landscape architect or designer, no. So this is not my area of expertise. But I know the idea. Of course, we are engineer. We know the sense. We have engineering sense. Hello. Hello.
A grayfield site refers to previously developed land that isn't currently in use, often with outdated or
Now, my question is, am I going to, USGBC said the turf grasses are not considered open space, and we know that. However, if we will use for community connectivity, we will use it as part of the parks, and we will consider this as part of the football field or golf areas. Is it, am I going to have a credit or points out of it or no? Or since there is a community connectivity, it is considered open space?
For LEED certification, turf grass is usually not considered open space. However, if the turf grass is part of a larger plan contributing to community connectivity, like being integrated into parks, football fields, or golf areas, it might count towards credits in categories like community connectivity or open space. The specifics can vary, so it's best to consult the LEED guidelines closely.
Yeah, we have to consult the book. I can check later. This is not beyond my expertise. So this is your site development plan. Okay, so open space is total site area minus building footprint minus the hardscape, walkway, turf grass, You see, access road, parking area. So unfortunately, it seems that not considered open space here because according to this here, plus turf grass field, meaning minus to the total site area. Unfortunately, even there is a community connectivity. Yeah. But actually, this is somewhat demotivational, no? Anyway, maybe there is in every rule there is an exemption, or you might need to consider CIR or credit interpretation requests, no? Now, here, now, what is the requirements here, no? Here, you can only excavate or disturb as part of your construction environmental plan, management plan, to only disturb maximum 40 feet beyond the building. And it is mandatory. Anyway, it is also good for you, right? Because you don't need to do unnecessary excavation, which is also cost a lot of money. Because the more you excavate, you will use more energy and it is cause pollution, no? Now, it depends. For the building, 40 feet. For the walkways, 10 feet. For the buildings, beyond buildings, 40 feet. For the roadway, 15 feet. Now, for the patios, what is patios? Ano ba yan? Patios na yan. Maybe, ito ba yung parang after the gutter? Look, if you will look on this area, it seems that this is something you can use for walking. Something pesos, no? All right. So that one you supposed to be beyond 10 feet beyond walkway patio and surface parking. Because the American terms we are normally not using here, no? But you see, it's mentioned here, no? Walkway patios. Okay. Significance. That is why, again, we are trying to limit 40 feet, 10 feet, 15 feet. We have such requirement to maximize the open space, promote natural infiltration of stormwater, to avoid this flood control. So that's why there is one, I think, Caloocan congressman, I think before he is an actor, I forgot the name, Caloocan, or
Malungsog.
not,
Malungsog.
oh, Rizal. Like he is a previously an actor, and then he is now he has some idea about sustainability. So meaning what he is also telling, we should not always only consider the flood. There are sustainability strategy. When he was interviewed online, he knows this, and they are doing it already as part of the master plan of that city. So reduce stormwater runoff. Okay, so demand for flood mitigation strategy will be minimized, Your Honor, and reduce the heat island effect. And restore habitat. No, preserve or restore habitat damaged by construction activity and reduce the land development impact. Again, the nutrient soil is normally the topsoil. If you disturb that, remember, nutrients is not only for plant. Remember, this is also for living things like insects and living things, organisms, no, within that soil. Strategy and implementation: reduce the building footprint, increase the height, and not the width. Ha? Open space higher than the local zoning requirement. So here, if you see here, we will improve the height of the building, but we will try to still have like we will preserve the, how can I say, the ground percentage compared to the building footprint. Ah, so if this is the case of your urban plan, no, normally the runoff will be minimized, of course, right? Reduce the island. Okay. Heat island is actually heat trap. No? And if this is maybe a grass or a plants, it will minimize the stormwater runoff. And remember, open space, forget about grass. Even it is just an open topsoil. Open topsoil generally porous, absorbs water. So it will reduce your stormwater runoff by around, if I'm not mistaken, around 30 to 60%. So meaning that it will filter at least 30 or 60, maximum 60%. So the remaining 40% only. But if it is a pavement, then definitely, probably what it will be absorbed is around only 10%. This is the issue there. Then you need flood control project.
For the 90%.
No. So, okay, what is cluster the developments together? Cluster. What do you mean? Group. No? If we will make a development, new site, not just housing. Think of diversity. The site should be diverse. Availability of local look. If there is cinema and there is mall, and it's also give jobs to local people there. Yeah, banks, malls, market. Right? This is this should be the schools. You build everything in that area. Tell your mayor. Mayor, don't only concentrate in village construction. You should think of development area that the people will not no need to live in that area. They can still also consider working there. Look, we want to be rich, but there are some people they're happy, that as long as they are eating 3 times a day and they can be able to live within that in their community, why not? No? Restrict the disturbance during the construction with a minimum area for the development footprint. Remember that? Now, if you consider stockpiling, you can consider that again to be an open space. Preserve the undisturbed greenfield area. Use native or adaptive vegetation. What is native plants? Plants that you don't need too much care. It will grow everywhere. You will see a lot of plants there, even if you go to desert. There are plants there. It's living without your intervention, without your custody, your honor. So these are the plants that we want to promote as part of, let's say, your landscape. No? Apart from that, local plants is actually adapted to the local climate, right? You don't need fertilizer, you don't need pest control, and adaptive vegetation. So meaning these are foreign plants, maybe from outside you bring here, but it will function like native plants. You don't need too much watering or too much care. You don't need fertilizer, and you don't need also pesticide or herbicide. You know herbicide? Herbicide is like normally some of the plants, grass, weeds are actually killing the plants, no? So normally other people they put herbicide to kill those weeds. But you like weeds? Not that weeds I'm talking about.
Strike it out.
Strike it out, Your Honor, from the record.
Out your,
Strike it out from the record, Your Honor. So control velocity and volume of stormwater runoff. No? So stormwater quantity should be reduced. No? And quality control by controlling the pollutants, the sedimentation that cause eutrophication, and contaminants from the runoff, which we discussed earlier. So here, this is what actually I'm discussing. No? So if you see, if your if there is a rain, huh, 40% normally evaporate, or there is a evapotranspiration process. 10% runoff, if there's a trees and 25% goes to shallow infiltration and 25% deep infiltration. So 50% goes from the topsoil and 25% more deeper. So around 50%. So I'm correct. Now, I think this is shallow infiltration because of the trees and the grass. It's included there. So if you say 10% runoff, so meaning it will not be considered plant anymore. No? However, having an impervious cover, or meaning the pavement, no, which is not porous, right? So there is even the evaporation is less, only 30%. What it will goes underground is around 10%, a maximum 15%. So 55%. So meaning pervious pavement increase the chance of flooding by around 5 to 6 times or 5 to 6 fold. Okay. So what is the again the problem also here? So if we will consider, sorry, what would be the advantage of having the open space? Reduce load on sewage treatment plant, reduce erosion, sedimentation, eutrophication, and related environmental impact. Reduce stormwater runoff, helps maintain the natural aquifer recharge cycle. There is also another thing. There are water that should go deep infiltration. You know the aquifer? Aquifer is there is a if you dig deeper, no, there is a channels of waterways. You might think of where this poso is connected, how you're getting water to your poso. Yeah, deep well. That is actually connected to aquifer. They call it aquifer. Okay. Now, the problem is in an urban area, the aquifer also might be affected. Now, there is a problem now. If you will search in Indonesia, they are shrinking because normally they are taking more water and it is not being replenished. So what happened is the aquifer close, no? And it causes what? Shrinking of the topsoil.
Below sea level,
Hmm?
will going down.
Yeah. Because there is nothing. It's become now shallow. Nothing inside. So the ground, the water shrink. Now they are facing. Where is this problem? Jakarta. In Jakarta itself, they're facing issue here. That's why they're shrinking.
Sa amin, nililimit na yung paggawa ng dito. Kasi yun ang magiging result.
No, there's nothing wrong. Again, if there is a means for us to replenish hero, if you have an open space, the water will again replenish your aquifer. No? But the thing is how it will replenish if there is a huge development like this and you are using impervious and you're not promoting the open space. Okay? So that's the reason, no? So meaning it is just more than stormwater runoff. Remember, the advantage is what? We are reduce the load on sewage. We are also trying to minimize the heat island effect. You know what is heat island? Normally, just go, imagine this, just go to Makati. You feel it's very hot compared to others to suburban area. Maybe 3 degrees, 2 degrees higher. But this actually increase the load of your HVAC equipment, increase your because it is a trap heat. Normally, by natural, normally here, if there's a heat, the trees and absorb. And remaining, the rest will goes back to the atmosphere. But if you have a pavement like this, it actually absorbs the heat that increase your heat load. No? So if the cooling load, if the heat is more, the cooling load requirement increase, then you need a more higher size of the HVAC equipment. So the higher size of your HVAC equipment consume more energy, which in turn increase your carbon footprint that cause global warming. By the way, that cause greenhouse gas effect. And this greenhouse gas cause fasten or hasten the what? Or speed up the global warming. Yeah. So what is eutrophication? Is an enrichment of inorganic plant nutrients, nitrate, phosphate. Normally, these are the fertilizer, no? Ingredients in your fertilizer in a fresh water body. So now you know the reason now why we don't want to disturb the topsoil. Because the topsoil itself already had, by nature, has necessary nutrient. Why? How it's having nutrient? This is the biodiversity closed loop system, no? The plant the plant grow then die. In that area, they will become fertilizer. The animal grow, the animal die, become nutrients to the soil. That's why the nutrients is only on the topsoil because of the living things, right? This is the design of God. No? All right. It may occur naturally. It's okay, it's happening. But can also be a result of human activity, cultural eutrophication from fertilizer runoff, and sewage discharge. No? Again, there's nothing wrong for sewage discharge as long it is treated. That will remove this nitrate and phosphate. Because if there is a presence of nitrate and phosphate, the problem here, no, there is animal here, there is a fish, and there are also plants. Eutrophication, this is like what? Plant, inorganic plant nutrients here. No? If this will settle here, it will block the sunlight. No? Am I right? Now, the problem, how this will create photosynthesis. The plants within the water body, no more. So this die, and the fish will die as well. It become, they call it anoxic. No? Now, you see, that's why we don't want fertilizer. We are against fertilizer. Okay. Or otherwise, in your farm, if you really want fertilizer, you're supposed to have this sedimentation traps, right? Sedimentation basins, right? Or fencing, no? But it's very difficult because the problem in the water in the farm is actually continuous to vegan, no? They call it to vegan. So anyway, strategies and implementation. We have we have two types of strategy to prevent or minimize at least your stormwater runoff, structural and non-structural. Non-structural is more like biomimicry, no? Considered like how the natural environment minimize the runoff. Promote natural infiltration of stormwater into soil, best suited for sites which has a sufficient open space. Example, rain garden, vegetative swale, reduce impervious area and pervious pavement. Otherwise, structural, no? Collect, hold, and treat stormwater. Let's say you have this, how can I say, rainwater collection. No? You will collect, no? It will goes to tank, collection tank, then it will be treated, no? And you can use at least, maybe you can consider this as if it is not potable, if you don't want potable, at least to consider this as for flushing, for irrigation purposes, and for at least for car washing. Uh, Structural strategy: collect, hold, and treat stormwater. Okay, rainwater cistern, sediment traps, and ponds. So these are the things, no? So reduce impervious surface and promote natural infiltration. So if you see here, if there is a water, it will not create stormwater runoff. The problem here, is still okay. Now you mitigated the stormwater runoff, but what you didn't mitigate here is what? Heat island effect, no? Because it is still what's this? Concrete, no? Or gravel, whatever. Then use open grid pavement, pervious paving instead of conventional hardscape surface. I like this one. But I haven't seen this, and I think Ashkel is not considering this. But I like this one. So something like there is a grade, then there's a hole that you can grow plant. But again, if this needs too much maintenance, you cannot in this area. This is only applicable in an area. Again, this is also undisturbed topsoil that will promote the growth of the grass, no? Rain garden. So this is structural strategy, right? Or considered by mimicry. How Mother Nature balance the ecosystem. Actually, that's the term most suitable here. Planted depression that allow rainwater runoff from impervious urban area like roof, driveways, walkways, parking lots to be absorbed. And again, use the plants considered native or adaptive plants that use no fertilizer, pesticides, herbicides, meaning pest resistant. Vegetated filter strips. This one, if you have a plant control. No, this is non-structural, no? Right? So here you will have a grass filter and cropland, no? Here, this is okay. If this is a farm, then maybe you can also consider the grass as a filter as well, no? By slowing runoff velocity and filtering out sediment and other pollutants, provide infiltration into underlying soil. Or the vegetated swale, constructed open channel drainage ways used to convey stormwater. Yeah. Okay. And bioswales, the landscape elements designed to remove silt and pollution from surface run water. I think this is structural now, no? They consist of swale drainage. This one can be considered non-structural, no? This is structural. No? With gently sloped sides, less than 6%, there is a slope. In drainage, we have at least minimum 0.5% or 1%. Here, maximum 6%, no? Less than 6, yeah, correct. And filled with vegetation, compost, or riprap. Compost. Okay, I think the best is the vegetated row, right? Like this, I think this McDonald, no, in some of their area they considered. And remember this, since it is, it is considered vegetated roof, open space. Why? Maybe you will tell people will work there. Forget about walking the people. Remember, the green roof is not just about, it's more than community connectivity. Probably it will not promote community connectivity, but it will reduce the area heat island effect. It will reduce the area stormwater runoff. It will reduce the area. This building reduce the energy use. Again, open space is more than just community connectivity. Because open space has a lot of benefits more than community connectivity. No? Or construction, structural strategy. Retention basin, I've seen this in Qatar, they're doing this. On the side of the road, but actually very dangerous. I've seen some area that the vehicle goes. The problem is it's too deep, no? And the problem, there are no proper signages, especially at night. They don't know that there is a. The problem, the retention basin here is too deep. It should not be. It should be at least like this only, no? You know the car goes. I don't know whoever considered this is a crazy design. It should not be too deep. It should be shallow, no? Shallow. Or sediment traps, yeah. Now this is also a structural strategy. Okay, you can collect, treat, and reuse stormwater from non-potable application. And if you don't want to spend a lot of water energy here, maybe connect to solar panel, no? Right? So this solar panel connected to the battery or something, it will it will energize your pump here, okay? Anyway, raining is not always, no? So it is possible. So heat island, phenomenon by which hardscape surface absorbs solar radiation and radiates absorbed radiation back to the atmosphere. So what is the significance? Here, this is a classical example of development, right? So here we have an urban development, urban residential, commercial, downtown, and some urban area like parks and rural areas as well. No? If you see, if you chart, it's like creating an island. Why? Because normally the areas within the downtown, which there is an urban development, they found out to be around as high as around 5, imagine here, 20, let's say 27 degrees. Here, the maximum temperature is 33, 34 probably. So probably as high as 5 to 7 degrees higher. No? Again, the open space help us also to mitigate this heat island. No? Strategy, consider budget. Again, this is a very good candidate. No? USGBC like it very much. Consider using vegetative roof instead of conventional roof. Again, this should not be turf grass because turf grass is costly, high maintenance. Use high SRI coating on roof surface. Okay, if you don't like that, that for flat roof, low slope surface shall be 78 or higher. Remember this, no? Okay. And SRI, what is SRI? No? For those civil, solar reflective index. No? So meaning should be 78 or higher. So probably if your SRI of the roof is 78, you can say around that 78% of the heat probably mitigated because it will goes back to the atmosphere. SRI value for high slope roof shall be 29 or higher only. No? Remember that for your exam. Again, this kind of coating, if you see, it is white, no? And reflective. You like glossy, you can consider that, no? Glossy, no? So it will not absorb the heat. So SRI is an ability of the surface to reject the heat, no? So the higher the SRI, the better. So from a surface to have a higher SRI, it should have a higher emittance and reflectance, or what we call albedo. The emissivity, we call it albedo. Remember this term, no? Ability to bounce off, you can consider the heat, no? Through increasing the reflectance or emissivity. We call it albedo effect. If you sometimes they call it albedo effect, no? So remember, solar reflectance is the fraction of solar energy reflected by the roof, and thermal emittance is the ability of the roof surface to radiate absorb heat. So again, normally the white color, white painting is actually here, reduce the heat. No? But here, the problem here, now, if you have a high albedo, meaning heat absorption within the building is less, so that's a good thing, energy in atmosphere, okay? But it will not reduce the stormwater runoff. And this is not considered open space. Right? Think about that, no? Right? Very nice, right? Increase vegetated pervious surface, use open grid pavement, pervious paving. Again, this is very common but not in Qatar. I don't know why they are not considering pervious paving. No? SRI value non-roof surface shall be 29 or higher, like your walkways, parking area, including these patios, no? Walkway patios. All right. Shade surface by structures, trees, solar panels. Consider using underground parking, shaded parking. I like this one. The roof is made from solar panel. Now, if you have an EV car, you park, go. Very nice. But again, I still have a concern now I'm still skeptical about the safety of EV vehicles. This is only my concern, safety. And that's actually most important. No? Okay. You are in protecting environment, but how about the safety? There's a collision. According to civil defense, the type of fire that is coming from the ordinary fire truck cannot be able to suppress or extinguish. Wow. Let's have a break. Do you have any question, gentleman from Leyte?
No more?
Huh?
Clear?
Okay. Is there any objection? I hear none. So, recess. All right. Let us continue our discussion to light pollution reduction. Again, this is part of sustainable site. Significant excess light comes at cost of energy. Light trespass may cause sleep deprivation, and light pollution disturbs nocturnal ecosystem of species. What are those nocturnal species? They're sleeping at day and they are awake at night, like owls, bats, etc. No? So actually, again, strategy and implementation, your external light, use full cutoff fixture shielded lights in external lighting, and light power density not exceed according to ASHRAE 90.1 or 2007 requirements. So here it's very easy to comply if you will use LED lights. No? Reduce light trespass beyond the property boundary. So here, non-full cutoff lights, it will increase the, you know what happened is, if your fixtures, light fixtures has no shield, not shielded, you can consider, it will increase, how can I say, it affects also the astronomical observation. If in an area has a lot of light pollution and light trespass, you will see the stars and those heavenly bodies will be less because it is being obstructed. That's why if you go to Philippines, you have more stars, here less. That's the reason. Because in Philippines, normally we don't have such luxury. No? Strategies and implementation, internal light. Use timer and occupancy sensor to switch off unnecessary lights after occupancy hour. So you consider this building automation system. No? Normally, let's say, for example, educational city, after 8:30, automatically it cut off the lights. Automatically. Control light trespass through transparent surface by proper positioning and selection of light fixtures, or automatically close the transparent openings after the specified time. Again, follow the standard ANSI, ASHRAE, ISNA standard, no? A 90.1, 2007. ISNA standard is for the is actually for the light or fixtures construction, no? ISNA. Remember that, okay? Anyway, if you see, yesterday I added some tables for you to memorize. If you see in the Google Classroom I added yesterday, there are tables that you have to memorize, and some of them is this. It's there in your Google Classroom. So summary, we discussed the construction pollution prevention. You should have a construction pollution prevention plan. It is a prerequisite. Site selection, development density, community connectivity, brownfield redevelopment, alternative transportation, site development, stormwater management, heat island effect, and light pollution. Again, in some area, to minimize it, practical, of course, the lesser the light use, the better. But remember, to some extent, that you should not compromise security. Okay? it will increase the blind spot, or potential hiding areas, no? Then this should not be the goal. No? Again, it depends on the type of facility. If this facility needs more security, then you can increase, no problem. Okay? We have a lot of YouTube reference for eutrophication animation, heat island effect, and cool roofs. Cool roofs using this highly reflective or highly SRI coating and vegetative roof, green roof. Right? Question? Is there any questions from the? Is there any objection to proceed with the next topic? I hear none. To proceed with the next topic is approved. What is albedo effect? And I mean, the emissivity ratio is high, meaning ability to radiate off the heat. No, that is albedo effect. No, right?
Okay.
Suspend? You want to suspend?
No.
5 minute suspension? Any objection?
Your Honor,
I-
additional documents on it.
Okay. So we will additional. Okay. 5 minute suspension. Our session is resumed. Okay. Okay. Chapter 5, water efficiency. Right. This is very easy topic. Chapter objectives: define the environmental, economical, and social issue. Explain associated concept and describe green building technology and strategies to minimize your water use indoor and outdoor. 70%, this is just based on the study or research, 70% of the surface is covered by water, but less than 1% of that water is fresh water, but only 1% of that 1% is accessible for human use or consumption. And probably nowadays it's become even less. And according to the United Nations Environmental Program, if our present patterns continue, 2 out of every 3 people will live in a water stress condition by year 2025. I think it's already, we are starting now. A recent U.S. government survey showed at least 36 states expect to have local, regional, or statewide water shortage by 2030. And again, we are facing, especially in California now. Each day, roughly 340 billion gallons of fresh water are withdrawn from rivers, streams, and reservoirs, probably more. And 60% of the water consumed is discharged back into the water supply after use. So our goal is of this water efficiency credit is to reduce the quantity of water need for the buildings and landscape or irrigation purposes, reduce municipal water use, and reduce the needs for treatment of wastewater. Reduce the quantity of water needed for a building and reduce the municipal water use go hand in hand. Because if it goes to the water treatment plant, it will consume energy. You need fuel. You need to burn fossil fuel, which will increase the greenhouse gas emission. Potable water is the meaning. What is the meaning of that? Water suitable for drinking or for human consumption comes from well or municipal water system. Otherwise, non-potable water is not suitable for human consumption, like your industrial water or gray water or black water, especially black water. So water conservation strategies are typically no more expensive than traditional building method. Buildings that use water efficiency can reduce operating costs through lower water use and sewage fees. No? In US, there is a meter also. The amount of water you dispose. Yes. Of course, the municipality treated them, no? Logically. So for LEED, all water reduction measurements are based on a baseline case compared to the design installed case. Baseline is using the fixture plus and flow rates of conventional building. And the design case, fixture flow and flow rates of the planned building design take into account the more efficient plumbing fixtures. So here, our goal is not just to follow the minimum requirements. We need to go beyond compliance. So your baseline should be what is the authority or regulatory requirements, right? Water reduction strategy, outdoor, indoor, and processed water. Processed water is what we use for process, like processing, no? Like what you use as a makeup water to your cooling towers in the manufacturing sites, right? So we have outdoor strategy. In the summer, the amount of water used outside for landscaping can exceed all of the water use more than inside. And the intent is to limit or eliminate the use of natural surface or subsurface water, lakes, river, underground aquifer, used for landscape irrigation and water only when it is necessary. Okay, landscape design, the first place to start saving water on irrigation is the design of landscape. No? So what are the goals of proper landscape? Limit or, if it is possible, eliminate potable water use. So probably you can use gray water here, which is actually subjected to treatment. Decrease energy use due to less pumping and treating of water. Little or no lawn mowing. You know, lawn mowing is grass cutting is actually uh, as actually lawn mowers actually consume a lot of energy. So if you are if your building is LEED BD not BDNC LEED O&M certified, there should be no lawn mowing.
After 5 years.
No, there are two strategies used, like like Bermuda grass. No, for example, if this kind of grass don't use water or don't need too much water, and it's not growing also, there's a certain growth, then you don't need to mow. Less air pollution. A typical gas-powered lawnmower produces as much as pollution as 1 hour as car being driven 340 miles. Imagine if you use, meaning, again, I want you to imagine how much pollution lawnmower produce. 340 miles driven car is equivalent to 1 hour lawnmower use. You see the disaster? Unbelievable, right? Then you have to. More water available for other use, such as shower, sinks, hoses. Maybe for irrigation and for maybe car cleaning. Less time and work needed for maintenance. Appropriate plant selection is another strategy. When water restrictions are implemented, the right plants will tend to survive. We call it what? Adaptive and local plants, no? Which are more conventional plants may not. Native plants were mentioned are contributing to several credit strategies. So if you will use the native plants, there will be a credit. But you have to prove that particular kind of. So probably you need to submit a submittal also to USGBC, proving that this kind of plants, what is the specifications of these plants? How much water it needed? Is it needed fertilized? Is it needed intensive care? Intensive care is not considered. Remember this, if the plants use, example, your turf grasses for football field, for example, use a lot of water, needs a lot of intensive care, not considered open space. Remember that. Along with water efficiency, native plants help with green roof landscape, stormwater management, restoring damaged area, open space, which you will get more credit also in sustainable sites, and water use reductions for outdoor. So what is the definition of native plants or local inhabited plants? Those grow naturally in an area. Native plants require less water, fertilizer, and pest control. These plants can be trees, shrubs like yung gumagapang, no? Flowers or grass. Adaptive plants are non-native plants that perform well in the local climate. Native and adaptive plants, meaning this is probably expat that can also be able to grow naturally in that area. Adaptive plants require less water and are more disease resistant or pest resistant. Project team will need to choose plants that will perform the best in a given soil condition and with the given amount of sun and shade. Avoid the use of invasive plants like kudzu in Japan, which plants that grow quickly and aggressively spread and displace local plants or other plants. Okay? And actually, sometimes, to some extent, it destroys also the transmission lines. I want to show you that video. Allow me. Is there any objection to show you a supplemental video? I hear none. Huh? The motion is to proceed. Huh? Ang tawag doon? Cancel. Anyway, to minimize the searching up time, we will use the modules I'm using for CFN. 1 minute suspended.
Sige.
Suspension. CFN.
Tagal yun.
1 minute suspension.
Actually, wala lang pa.
Hey, Fred, today I'll show you how you might.
Kudzu.
The Centennial Exposition, held in 1876 in Philadelphia, was a carnival of wonders. Roughly 10 million Americans were introduced to the telephone, the typewriter, and a miraculous new plant from Japan, kudzu. See, plant enthusiasts loved the flower's fruity, grape-like fragrance, and the fact that the vine could scramble over a trellis so quickly and control erosion. Soon, farmers realized that livestock could eat the vine, making it a good crop to feed livestock. But kudzu had other wicked plans for America. The vines made themselves a
I'm not sure if this plant is edible. I have to figure out. No?
home, growing up to a foot per day during warmer months.
Foot per day, huh?
Two stems can emerge from a single crown. Each of those can stretch over 100 feet. A single mass of taproot can weigh up to 400 pounds. Its underground rhizomes ignore the cold and survive for years before sprouting. It strangles trees, smothers meadows, undermines buildings, and pulls down power lines. The vine now covers 7 million acres in the US, and the damage it has caused is in the hundreds of millions. If you live in the South, you may not want to sleep with the windows open.
Okay, based on the research I gathered, around $500 million is a budget allocated for flood control, for mitigating the spread of in this kind of invasive plants. So normally they use for erosion, no? Sedimentation and erosion. No? But the problem is they didn't realize that this is actually an invasive plant. No? If you see, it's also destroy the power lines, and it also kills other plants because it covers the trace which needs, in order to survive, need photosynthesis. If it is black, then it will die. So imagine the cost, the damage just for this. So that's why we don't want to use invasive plants. There are also invasive plants here in Qatar not allowed, like those destroy the plumbing drainage system and those plants that blocks the drainage system that cause again another flooding. No? But the ministry, they're still using those plans, but private entities are not allowed. So if you see here in this presentation, avoid the use of invasive plant. Those are grows quickly, as what we mentioned, maybe foot per day, and aggressively spread and displace native plants. Destroy power lines. Otherwise, consider xeriscaping as well, another strategy. Requires artificial irrigation watering other than rain. Xeriscaping is a type of landscape and gardening that reduce or eliminate the need for supplemental irrigation based on proper planning and design, soil analysis and improvement, appropriate plant selection, efficient irrigation, and appropriate maintenance. So meaning these plants requires no intensive care, no need fertilizer, pesticides or herbicides. And again, this is how it looks like, no? So ATPC is not necessarily ugly type of plants. Again, a careful plant selection by an expert sustainability landscape architect, you know. Again, another expert you need to bring into the house, House of Representative. So looks, look, not necessarily bad, right? No? If there's no objection, I will show you again another video. I hear now, so the motion is to proceed. So let us close the other.
You kind of barricade, right? Pull up your lawn, throw down the spot, call the government. I'm SusanWellness.com and I'm here with Glenn, the Executive Director of the Okanagan Xeriscape Association. We're here to debunk some of those myths around this zero xeriscape movement. So what exactly is xeriscaping?
Basically, xeriscaping is gardening with the natural environment that you live in. So gardening such that you're just using the natural rainfall. And there's 7 principles of xeriscape, and I think they're fabulous. I think it's the best way to have a successful garden if you follow these. So they're planning and design, practical turf areas, soil preparation, efficient irrigation, appropriate plant selection, which is the fun part, mulching, and time
Mulching, huh?
maintenance.
So what are some of the biggest misconceptions?
Well, like you said at the beginning, xeriscape, people call it xeriscape. And it's actually xeriscape, and XERI is the Greek word for dry, that's where it comes from. And the big misconception is people think of rocks, cactus, straggly plants, ugly. And if you follow the principles of xeriscape, you can have an absolutely beautiful lush garden in almost any style. There's tons of plants to choose from. And I actually strongly recommend that you don't use rock mulch. It throws a lot of heat back on your house and on your plants. And it's really hard to weed out of.
And what are some of the positive effects for the environment?
Well, number one, you can save water, and it doesn't matter where you live in Canada, you can save water. The infrastructure for treated drinking water is getting more and more expensive, and cities are more and more going to be putting restrictions on using it on outdoor irrigation. So if you create a garden right now with using the xeriscape principles, your garden will be really drought tolerant no matter what happens, and you'll have a beautiful garden even if the water is completely restricted.
Oh, wonderful.
And the other positive advantage is that growing your plants using the xeriscape principles, you have really healthy, happy plants, so they don't attract pests and diseases. So you don't have to use nasty chemicals in your garden.
Nice. And where can we find out more information?
From the OkanaganXeriscape.org website.
Ito may advantage, no? So stormwater runoff, it will also mitigate the heat island effect. It is considered open space. Huh? What else? Less water use, no? Um, and again, overall, it will also reduce your sewage fees. Huh? So, what is the irrigation best practice? Weather-based irrigation controller. What weather or sensor-based irrigation control technology use local water and landscape condition to tailor irrigation schedule to actual conditions on the site. Instead of irrigating according to the present preset schedule, like there is a timer, advanced irrigation control and allow irrigation to match the water requirements of plants. Newer soil moisture sensor have the benefit of detecting when plants need moisture. A rain sensor is great for turning off the watering system on a rainy days, but it rains for 3 hours on Monday and it is sunny on Tuesday. Sunny, maybe it will activate, otherwise rainy days, it is shut off. So rather than timers, so normally you have these sprinklers, no? Normally with timers. This one is advanced technology. Remember this in your exam, drip irrigation. So drip irrigation minimizes the use of water by allowing water to drip slowly to the roots of plants, enter onto the soil surface directly onto the root zone. So instead of sprinkler, there will be a series of pipe, pipe, yeah, drip tubes through a network of valves, pipes, or a tube. Drip irrigation has an irrigation efficiency of 90%. Imagine. So outdoor use reduction strategy by 90% achieved. Drip irrigation is the most water efficient form of irrigation because there is no surface runoff water like using traditional sprinkler. But until now in our company, we're still using this in all of our hospitals. Drip irrigation is sometimes slightly more expensive than conventional system. Simple payback can be used to track water savings and compare. Again, initial cost probably higher because you need to have you need a drip irrigation system here, no? Use stormwater and or gray, but this is actually very, I think, in my view, very helpful, especially in the farmland. No? You only direct the water where it is only needed, especially for those drought considered areas, no? Drought areas. Use stormwater or gray water. Both stormwater and gray water considered non-potable and excellent alternative. So non-potable water, how we define, does not meet EPA drinking water standards. So meaning not suitable for human consumption or use, but can be used for on-site water use strategy. So the stormwater or reclaimed water can be collected in barrels or storage tanks, and we call it rainwater harvesting, something you can use for irrigation and for, I think, car cleaning or for hardscape cleaning, including the what else for flushing, no, to your toilets and to your urinals. So for me, better to use for me rather here better to use plasticized piping, no, so it will minimize there will be no corrosion, no? Gray water is untreated household wastewater which has not come in contact with toilet waste. Remember, toilet waste considered black water, no? Because black water is coming a wastewater from toilet and urinal. How about someone told me? How about water in bathtub? Well, it is probably I told it, it's just gray water. No, no, sir. I also pee. Generally still considered gray water, no? Even in the floor, no? Floor, the drain, no? Floor drain water. Still considered. I pee there. It's still considered because that is not the That is not the only percentage, very small, no? So gray water comprised of, let's say the water from swimming pool, maybe gray water also, no? IP in the swimming pool, black water now. Look at the ratio, right? No? Gray water comprise 50 to 80% of residential wastewater and can be piped to storage tank for later use and can come from bathtubs, shower, bathroom sinks, washing machine, and laundry tubs. Even those we are using chemicals like soap. No? Gray water does not include potable water or treated water. No? Wastewater from kitchen sinks, kitchen sink, because there is an oil, no? Dishwasher, and from toilets and urinal. No? If the sink is intended for dishwater, not also considered, unfortunately. But remember this. Make sure you check local code before you're reusing gray water or stormwater. Different city have special rules about how these waters can be used. Sometimes a permit is required. Gray water in one city, example, this dishwasher, no? Might be considered black water in another city. So black water cannot be used for irrigation. Again, this is on a restriction, but the definition of gray water, sometimes gray water, sometimes black water already. Indoor strategy, we discuss outdoor. Too many strategies are there. The most efficient is the drip irrigation, because the irrigation goes directly to the root. Apart from that, consider the mulching, so it will preserve the moisture within the soil. No? Reduce water use within a house or building is an easy way to earn LEED credits and can be achieved with little, if any, additional cost over standard plumbing fixtures. Toilets account for 25% of daily water use in US. One half of all toilets in US home are older, less efficient, and 1.6 billion gallons of water are wasted in the US every year because of inefficient toilet. One leaking faucet, leaking 5 at a rate of 60 drips per minute, wastes over 2,000 gallons of water annually. And the EPA established water conservation standards for water closet, shower heads, faucets. Okay. So one way of new pictures of LEED 2009, which is the version 4.0 and 4.1, is the addition of a water efficiency prerequisite. Okay. In the past, project teams have the option of reducing water use for projects, but now required because it's become prerequisite. No. Inside of the building by at least 20%. There is a baseline. No? The baseline. You have to reduce by at least 20%. If not, you cannot, your application for green building certification might be revoked. To calculate the percent reduction, the project team first calculate the baseline water demand or baseline case. So a baseline case is where models and calculations are done to discover what is conventional building water use. So in the conventional building that use standards, that's the baseline. Based on that, reduced by 20%. The baseline water use is based on estimated occupant use or full-time equivalent calculation, which is normally considered in design as 1. Normally part-time, 0.5. No? What is full-time? If the occupants stay at least 8 hours. So you are considered what? Not full-time, probably for you 0.5. Water reduction calculations for LEED rating system are based on reduction of the total water consumption rather than just a single fixtures or fitting. And indoor strategies depend on efficient plumbing fixtures and fittings. Okay, we will discuss that. There is a approval. How you will know if the particular fixtures are, or faucets or shower heads are water efficient. Of course, normally there is a what we call water sense label certified. Again, there are 2 times for you to claim a points for this. Either probably inspections approval of the installed certified water sense label certified fixtures, or otherwise you make commissioning. So baseline versus actual. A plumbing fixtures or fitting is either permanently or temporarily connected to the building's water distribution system. Includes water closet, urinal, lavatories, sinks, showers, and drinking fountains. Lavatories, this is where normally, let's say, in a pantry, no? Full-time equivalent, no? Okay, so building occupants are identified by the type: full-time, part-time, transient. Like student, customer, visitor, residents. Residents considered full-time. FTE is a way of calculating the number of residents in the building, the number of full-time and part-time office worker, and number of transient occupants. So the number of FTP occupants is based on standard 8-hour occupancy period, that's what I mentioned, not 24 hours. An 8-hour occupant has an FTE of 1. A part-time worker that work 4 hours per day has an FTE of 0.5. So there are hours per day divided by 8, no? So it depends, no? Let's say you have a contractor, but they're just working for cleaning contractor, but they're just staying there for 2 hours in a day. The 2 divided by 8, that is the full-time equivalent. For classroom, FTE calculation would include both teachers and students. Students are a type of transit occupants or a type of occupant not use the facility consistently. Students, shoppers, museum visitors are all types of transient occupants, meaning don't intend to stay for longer period of time. And this calculation may include multiple shifts, depends on the credit. So be sure to understand how the calculation is used each time. So what are the strategy? Use of the dual flush toilet, no? Normally has 2 button or levers. One provide the half flush and other full flush. But you know, this is the reality here. Even the plumber don't know this. So when they connected it, you press full flush or half flush, it shows same. But actually it should not be in that way. Okay? If there is if you poop, full flush. Otherwise, if you pee, half flush. The choice of button depends on the type of waste. These types of toilets can reduce water use, but this one must be commissioned properly because I've seen a lot. This button is not working. This type of toilets can reduce water use up to 67%. For urinal flush, only it can be reduced by 67% to other standard and older toilets. Now, again, there is a what we call high efficiency toilet. Replace all less efficient toilet 1.6 gallons per flush with 1.28 gallon high efficiency toilets can save 16,500 gallons of water per year per toilet per household. No? More than 50% of the toilets in use today consume at least 3.5 gallon per flush. Oh my God. In a home that has an average of 10,000 flushes per year, this means savings of 22,000 gallons of water compared to 3.5 gallon toilet or 3,200 gallons compared to 1.6 gallon toilet. So HETs go beyond the standard, definitely. Use maximum 1.28 gallon per flush, at least 20% savings, and to identify which appliance has this, look for WaterSense label. So WaterSense is sponsored by EPA, helps consumer identify high-performance fixtures. The WaterSense label is used on HETs that are certified by independent laboratory testing for both performance and efficiency. Only high-efficiency toilets can complete the third-party certification process and the WaterSense label certification. Another consideration, if you want 100% efficient, waterless urinal. Utilize a trap insert field with a sealant liquid instead of water. So basically, you pee on the top, but since your pee is more denser, it will settle below. and this sealant liquid will stay afloat. No? So lighter than water sealant floats on the top of urine collected in the U-bend, preventing odors from being released into the air. Although the cartridge and sealant must be periodically replaced, the system saves anywhere between 1,500 and 45,000 gallons. And for me, I feel another consideration to this. I think the surface on the top should be like antibacterial, so there will be no waste. But I feel somehow to some extent you have to clean this. But the problem is soap or something. If you use soap or clean, I don't know how it will. I've seen this if you go to DFC Cinema here, Doha Festival City Cinema. But normally what they're using also there instead of water, ice. They're putting ice. They still use water, no? Huh? Use storm water or grey water. The water used to flush a toilet doesn't need to be as clean as water you drink from the faucet. Definitely, obviously, practically, pragmatically, Your Honor. And that is the manifestation. Yet the clean and treated water is what flows through 99% of our toilet. Recycled grey water from shower and bathtubs can be used for flushing toilet in most codes. Most codes, again, you have to check the local regulatory because to define gray water is not the same in each and every cities or in every state. Probably in Qatar, they have their own, they have the GC standard here, no? And that's what we need to follow. Such a system could provide an estimated 30% reduction in water use for the average household, while on commercial scale, savings are even more. Another strategy is wastewater treatment or reuse, treating collected stormwater through structural strategy. And wastewater on site allow us the use of treated water for flushing toilets, irrigation, and cooling tower, makeup water. But to us, we will not simply use, I don't know, someone STE they're using for makeup water. How come here? This is very dirty. This is very nasty. Very, how can I say? I don't know. It might promote also the what's this? Legionella disease. What's this? I don't know how they're telling that, no? But actually, maybe you save water, but in the worst case, it promotes the growth of fungi, algae, those living things, organisms inside the pipe, but that in the future will cause clog. And then if there's a lot of microorganism inside the piping, it will also reduce the efficiency of your piping system. So for us, what we do, at least to make it gray water force. So we have a building here, what's the name? In front of City Center, we constructed the Arwa Tower. So basically, we have a separate line for gray water. We have a gray water collection tank below, connected to this gray water treatment plant, and this is something we can use connected to the our chiller. Was this a water cooled chiller? So what happened is this is your chiller, no? How chiller like this, no? Like that, no? Now this is so basically here you have a treatment process here, no? Treatment, let's say treat. So now you have this maybe you need pump. Here you need also pump, no? Okay. Now this is pump. Now if let's say consumption is more, then this is also connected to Karama. There is a Karama line here, no? If it's reached some point here, let's say, it goes to that Karama water will supply. Yeah. But this Karama line also, I feel they also have two lines now, no? They have potable and gray water. Correct? But not in all areas, right? But they start constructing it. So you can save water also. Imagine you will save water also taking from Karama. Because you're paying for that as well, right? But I feel Have you seen a building with chiller? How we have here in one of my project, we have 8 cooling towers, and the condensation it produce 350 ton each. So 358. So around 3,000 tons. Okay. You know, the water it's produced, it seems like it's coming from the pump. Unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable. So basically, we have soak away useless. Useless because it's overflow. What I'm trying to say, this condensation also from your, it is not mentioned here, but your condensation also connected to this, actually more than enough in the entire building. You know, the condensation is too much. To some extent, you don't, it is actually maybe less the capacity. So I feel that practically, if you use it proper design, you don't need this anymore. Because of the, but maybe during winter, maybe I'll agree, but not summer. Or maybe you have, you might need only this if you have more irrigation, because this can be connected also for, this line is not only for, remember, not only for this. There's another line for flushing, uh, saying, what's this? Flushing for urinal and for the cistern tank of your water closet and for irrigation. Mm. So we are using that for flushing toilet, irrigation, and cooling towers, greatly reduce the amount of fresh water taken from the municipality, eliminate the need to pump wastewater to municipal pump, right? So as another benefit, treating stormwater runoff prevents chemical runoff. Chemical runoff occurs when stormwater was chemicals off-site into the watershed. So for processed water, like the makeup water is a processed water, no? So processed water covers fixtures and systems that are not covered by EPA or Energy Policy Act. In lead, examples of processed water include makeup water for mechanical system like your water cooling tower, no? System that is used in laboratories or hospital. Commercial cooking application, food steamer, ice machine, dishwasher. So those are processed, no? Processed water is not directly addressed by each of the rating system. For example, you would not find the credit in lead for homes, let's say for ice making probably, but it will be part of lead for healthcare laboratories or lead for school. Again, definitely there will be a processed water strategy mostly for manufacturing side because some of the facilities they are not using processed water. No? Cooling towers are used to regulate temperature in building. They can help absorb heat from the machinery or HVAC system into cold water, which then becomes hot water. This heat can be released through evaporation in the air or through the other cooling techniques. Without proper oversight, cooling towers can use significant quantities of potable water. I don't know now. There is a strategy, they call it in HVAC system, that heat recovery, not heat recovery will, like whatever heat generated, we are also using that for heating. Hmm. Air conditioning during winter. Yeah. Air conditioning condensate, captured rainwater, or treated wastewater are good source of non-potable makeup water. And we're done. Now, again, I just want to show you the tables that I've uploaded that you are going to memorize. Again, don't forget your attendance. So no way for you to fail here, no? Because what we discussed is only what will come in your exam. I have one student, same RP, lady. After the 40% of the question bank came to the exam. Copy paste. Yeah, here you have tables for memorization.
Grade associate exam yan.
Here we have ASRE standard, like earlier. ASRE 90.1 to calculate the baseline building energy performance, no? 62.1 establish ventilation requirements for acceptable indoor air quality. So the later part we will discuss. And water efficiency strategy. Toilet, no? Baseline 1.6 gallon per plus. High efficient toilets are 1.28 gallon per plus. Urinal 1 gallon per plus. But low plus urinal 0.5 gallon per plus. So here I can make it so. Shower 2.5 gallon per meter. Gallon per minute. No? Low flow shower 1.8 gallon per minute. Less. Faucet 2.2 GPM. So this is the bad news. You have to memorize this one. Kitchen sink 2.2, low flow faucet 1.5 GPM. Now, this is the baseline for considered highly efficient toilet for HET. This is the only amount of the maximum water use in a particular fixtures to be considered for water sense label certification. Normally, there are a low flow aerator, no aerator. So rather than pure water, it's like a mist, no? In the shower also. You know, nowadays, it's difficult to go to bathroom. But how you take a bath? Two things, collect. Kuha ka ng timba. Pero hindi ko ginagawa yun. Wala kami timba. Yun lang, yung correct? The mist, no? The mist. It's a mist, no? So there is actually cooling effect, no, in the mist. That's why there is also a fire suppression system, mist system. No? Why? Because actually one of the reason of fire is because of the heat. So if you eliminate heat, there's no fire, right? Okay. What are the table also you need to? This one also you need to memorize, like potential ozone depletion potential and global warming potential. So the most actually, maybe you surprised, no, that air is also refrigerant. Zero ozone depletion potential and global warming potential. How? What is the application? Open your window. But here it is not possible, right? Because of potential contaminants outside. No? So here probably not practical. Again, we will consider here the best refrigerant, but without compromising the welfare and well-being, the health of the tenants or occupant. That's it. Then water, ammonia, carbon dioxide, butane, propane, ethane, and then the worst is CFC12, CFC11. Later on, we will discuss in energy atmosphere. So if this CFC12 and 11 is actually banned already, because it's actually, you see the ozone depletion potential 1 and global warming potential is 10,720, imagine. Global warming. So meaning, compared to air, 10 times, 10,000 times increase the chance of global warming. Imagine. Now, what we are using in our car, HFC 134A, hydrofluorocarbon. No? Ozone depletion, 0. But global warming, 1,320. So now I've seen many manufacturers, they are using another type of refrigerant like 414, I heard that. And there are more, like The issue here is the more we are trying to make it ODP GPT lower, the problem is um the problem is in order to produce the required cooling, you might need to increase the energy. So you have to buy. I feel in each and every region there might be the most optimum. You cannot make it zero. Optimum level of or what kind of refrigerant is the most suitable for that given environment. Okay. And lastly, we have also for the material. No? Okay. Later on, we will discuss next meeting. We will discuss the following topics. I have a suggestion with you guys. Once I post the attendance, don't press I am here. Reply that I will attend. I will attend. So I will print the number of because it will increase. We want to be a sustainable organization as well. No? Good for you, good for my business also. I'm printing a lot of paper here also. I am paying for the ink. Okay, so that is only my policy. Okay, sometimes you don't need technology to be sustainable. Sometimes policy, let's say in your office, turn off the lights when you leave the office. Like this, turn off the AC, turn off the light. No? Turn off policy. Sometimes policy improve the way we. Wait, is what's that? What we're discussing next meeting, no? So the topics will be next meeting. Chapter 6, Energy, Atmosphere, and Materials and Resources. We will discuss both topics. Day 4, no? And then day 5, chapter 9, 10, 11. I feel energy, atmosphere, it's a huge topic. It will be one chapter, one day, 3 hours. This 7 and 8 and 9, 10, 11, I can combine 5 topics into one day. Then you will have your back exam. So, any further questions? Is there any motions? Huh? I hear none. Huh? Then, the meeting is adjourned.
Thanks.
Ba't sir lang tawag sa akin? Bastos ka.
Walang tawag sa akin. Tawag Stel. Tawag yun.